Your sun and earth gates are, like you said, the top two numbers on either side of the chart, and they encompass like 75% of your expression in the world. It's like an inverted funnel, the bottom of the numbers being the wide inside of the funnel, and everything, all the energies in the chart are kind of funneling through to the sun and the earth. And so the gates there that you have, like your sun and earth gates, those are going to be very influential part of your personality. Human Design reveals who you are energetically and who you came here to be. I'm Dana, your Human Design guide.
And I'm Haley, on this journey with you to uncover the power of human design.
Together, we're here to explore how embracing your authentic self is the ultimate path to a life of more freedom and fulfillment.
Welcome to the Human Design Hive Podcast. Let's get into it.
Well, hello, Haley. How you doing?
Hi.
I'm going to have to start saying good morning to you because we've gotten in a routine now of recording in the mornings, our Sunday morning coffee talk.
I like the Sunday morning because I feel
refreshed.
I'm more energized than I am if we record after work. I know that other people can probably notice it in the episodes if we recorded like after work, because I know that I'm like quieter. I don't say as much. I'm like kind of a little like drained.
I should have noticed that, but I guess not. But you're right. I should have thought of that. On episode 158, I realized, let's work with Haley's energy.
Look, we're all learning.
Okay. No, I like it. It's when we record on Sunday mornings, it's nice. It's a good time because for you, you're 2 hours behind where I am. We record around 11 a.m. Eastern, which is good for me because I've had time to get up, do all my morning practices of moving around, drinking coffee, get myself up to speed, let my brain focus. And it's 9 o'clock for you. You've probably been up for a while too.
Yeah, a couple hours. So
dang, you get up early.
7. It's only 7.
You know what's going to happen? I know what's going to happen is that as soon as your dad starts working his summertime job, which he's boat captain, which starts next weekend, I'll probably be waking up earlier again. These cycles, it's like that I go through, there's the natural cycles, but then there's also like sleep schedules that vary depending on when your dad and where your dad's working, because even though we have our own separate rooms, no shame, it is the wave of the future to have a separate bedroom if you want a long marriage that's happy. We've been married almost 35 years. But yeah, I think it's because, I don't know, I do like the early morning hours, but lately I've just been, it's harder to wake up. But sometimes when I know there's going to be like less disturbance in the field in the house, which is your dad, his energy is just like big, I think. I just feel him wherever he is in the house, and it'd be nice to have a little space. Good thing he doesn't listen to this podcast. I mean it all with love. But anyway, so speaking of space, speaking of people, speaking of personalities and everything, we're going to continue with our profile series today.
I like that segue.
Oh, thank you. I've been practicing. And we're going to look at the 3-6 profile today. But before we do that, I want to remind everybody to get on the email list, either through my website or you can go to Substack directly. But if you go to our website, humandesignhive.com, so that you can join us every month on our free community calls. The next one is coming up when this airs. It's going to be tomorrow, Wednesday, the 28th. And so they're at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Anybody is welcome. As long as you're on the email list, you'll get the Zoom link to know when and where we're going to meet. But I'm sure this month will be a lot more talk about profile, and you can get your questions answered about your profile. You might even meet people with the same profile you have, or we can all just explore different profiles. But it's just a fun time for all. And like I said, it's free for you to join because my profile line 4 wants to get to know the people in my community and share what I know. So make sure you check that out in the show notes. And I wanted to remember to say at the top of the episode today instead of at the very bottom, where I usually remember to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm just here doing this, having fun with you. And then I forget, oh, yeah, I should
I gotta actually say things.
Yeah, to get people on board here. Okay, so yes, ma'am.
Before you get into that question, when will the June one be?
June, I have to look at my calendar.
Is it the third Wednesday?
4th.
Me and Nancy will be there.
June 25th? I thought that was July.
Oh, that's July.
Yes.
1, 2, 3. We won't be there.
You can be here on June too if you want. That's fine with me.
So June will be the 25th.
June will be the 25th and July will be the 23rd.
Okay.
So it'll be right
because Margie and Ralph are going to be here June 28th through July 4th. So, okay.
That works. You got that?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, that would be bad if you were here on the 25th and you had people showing up at your house on the 28th.
Yeah. That'd be bad. I forgot. Different months. All right.
Yes. Okay. So anyways, profile. So we have been digging in for the last several episodes. Let's see. What have we covered? Do you remember who we've covered so far?
We did the 1-3.
Mm-hmm.
We've done the 6-2. Mm-hmm. We've done the 5-1.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The 3-5.
Yes.
That's all I got.
Last one was the
we just did the 1-4.
4? Yep. Wow, that puts us at 6. We're halfway down. No, that's 5. Wait.
This is 6? This episode
one is 6.
She's like, God. That puts us at 6 as she's holding up 5.
Good God. I'm 54 years old. You graduated from college. You think we could count to 6? Oh, well. Sorry. Yes. So, because there are 12 profiles. So today we're going to be getting halfway through. And I've been really enjoying this series because even though I've been looking at profile for a while, even when I dig into it a little bit further and we have these conversations about it, it's always just kind of opens up maybe the room for something new to come through, or maybe something we hadn't heard before or talked about. So I'm excited about that. So we talk about profile and we wanted to explore it because I know that people are very curious about their own profile and really what it means, because when you first come to human design, it is usually the thing that people most resonate with first because they have probably received conditioning about the way their energy is supposed to operate as far as like type, right? Like your strategy. A lot of times we've been working against our own natural way of either responding to life or invitations, that kind of thing, blah, blah, blah. But profile, I think, is so innate. And yes, you can still receive conditioning around your profile, all aspects, right? But people really understand it because it really speaks to that part of your personality and how you like to learn and explore and how you share that with the world, right? And so, Haley, since you're more mentally active in the morning, would you like to explain, because I know I usually have you do this anyhow, where do we get profile from in the chart when you're looking at the human design chart?
Yes. So when you're looking at the chart, you'll notice that, all of your gates, both sides, your gates, they have a decimal point. So the decimal point number is where the line numbers come from. So you start on the right side, the conscious side, the red. What color are they? Black. So the top 2 gates is going to be your sun and your earth, those top 2 boxes. And those are going to be the same decimal point number, and that's going to be the first part of your profile line. Then you go over to the left side, the red numbers, same thing, top 2 spots, that decimal point number is the second part of your profile.
Question.
Yes,
As you're saying that, do you not see it in your mind? Do you not
I
see the
do.
red and the black? Okay.
No, well,
I'm wondering. I'm just
I
curious.
see the chart and I see the two columns of numbers,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't necessarily have a color. Like I know it, but then at the
Hmm.
same time, my brain's like, do we
Hmm.
know it?
That's interesting. That's just a side note. That's nothing to do with profile. I'm just curious how
No,
your mind
that's just
works.
me.
Yes. And so the reason that this becomes like a thing in human design is because your sun and earth gates are, like you said, the top two numbers on either side of the chart, and they encompass like 75% of your expression in the world. It's like an inverted funnel, the bottom of the numbers being the wide inside of the funnel, and everything, all the energies in the chart are kind of funneling through to the sun and the earth. And so the gates there that you have, like your sun and earth gates, those are going to be very influential part of
Mhm.
your personality. And then that decimal point is part of the hexagram structure, the of the I Ching, where it adds another depth of understanding of the energy of that gate. But on its own, these 1 through 6 lines of the hexagram, that we also refer to as profile lines, they stand alone as, excuse me, these these lines carry specific energies when we're talking about how we express in the world. So, like
Mhm.
the lower trigram numbers, the 1, 2, and the 3 are
Mhm.
more what?
They're more personal. They're more
More
introspective.
self-focused.
Self,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And then the upper trigram numbers involve people. It's about
Mhm.
universalizing. So we usually get to this point. So I think it's good for us now to talk about the house structure of
Mhm.
the, I know we're going to repeat it every time and it's going to maybe sound redundant, but standing
Mhm.
alone, it's very good in these episodes. I think it's a good understanding in traditional human design. In the definitive book of human design, they have this little section about how to understand the profile lines as it applies to our personality. What is that analogy about? Like, what does that
Yeah.
look like?
So the analogy, it's a two-story house. And
Mm-hmm.
the line one is the base, the foundation, the first floor, the literal floor of the house, the foundation. The line two is the first floor windows with the shades open, so you can see inside. You can see the line two in there. The outside can see the line two. The line three is the staircase up to the second floor. The line four is the floor, the foundation of the second floor, very similar to the line one. The line five is the upstairs windows with the curtains closed so you can't see in. Although I like to imagine that there's a little line five that's like peeking out the curtains. That's my own thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then the line six is the roof. It's the roof of the
The
house.
roof.
The
Yes.
roof is on fire.
Yeah. And so, with that in mind, real quickly, what that means is the line one, the foundation, that's what that line is usually about when it applies to all the gates, is about what is the foundational energy of this gate. But also, it is somebody who, the line one, it's called the investigator. It's all about learning through gathering knowledge, information to feel safe and secure. It is foundational of
Mhm.
everything. Like, if you don't have a strong foundation, you don't have a strong house, right? What?
Which profile are we talking about today?
3, 6.
3-6. Okay.
Mm-hmm. The line two, like she said, with the curtains drawn or the curtains open, sorry, is because there is a little bit of a projection field. Line two is the hermit. It likes to stay in its own space and hide, and it doesn't really care what's going on outside the world, but the world sees them. And the more they try to be in their process and hide, the world sees it and says, hey, we need that. The line three is kind of, it is the trial and error. We're going to go into it more obviously in this episode, but it is testing out really what the line in 1 and 2 knows. It's testing in order to get it up to the second floor to the next foundation. I know she always has issues with that one. It's transitionally called. The line 4 is also foundational, but like you said, the second floor of the house is usually where the bedrooms are. It's more personal, it's relational. So it's about the foundations of relationships and being secure in those. The line 5, then with the curtains drawn, has another projection field on it. It kind of hides out, but it's also needing to be called out. It also has, it takes everything within the, let's say, hexagram structure already, and is the line that starts bringing it all the way out, universalizing all the information, but it hides because sometimes people don't like what the line 5 has to tell them. They are truth tellers. And then line 6 being up on the roof was another one you've wrestled with, but the line 6 also has this high, it says on the roof because, again, we're going to get in that here in a second, about it's one of the life phases of the line 6, which is emblematic of, like, you know, what people see it, which being on the roof and seeing out over everything. But so let's just end it there, and let's get into today's profile, the 3-6. So as we said, the line 3 is the experimenter, right?
Yep.
They like to,
let's see, very hands-on, trial and lessons. They're always learning, they're always experimenting. They're really like, they're not going to accept something until they've tried it themselves.
right. They, and then do you remember what the line 3 is called in traditional?
Oh, hang on. Oh, I really should, because we just did this. So, okay, so
There's only 6 names.
I know. This is like what we just talked about, the body graph. Like, I know it, but I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, I do know it though. Oh, it's the martyr.
There you go. Good job. Yes, it's the martyr. So, like you said, that it likes to experiment. It learns through direct experience. And so the 1 learns through gathering knowledge. The 2 kind of likes to try their own way. The 3 is like made to kind of break things in a way. They are meant to test the theories and the boundaries and everything else. So they don't just take someone's word for it, right? They're like, okay, I hear you. That's a good idea. It holds a lot of weight, but we're really gonna see if it's true or not. Yeah. And so as such, they say that this is the line that bumps into life. They use that terminology a lot because it is designed to test things out, try things out. It's designed to make mistakes. It refines and learns through doing, not through just hearing and listening and reading. Like, it has to experiment, has to do. But this also makes them very adaptable. Line 3s are maybe seen by others as like messy, but really it's laying the foundation for very experiential wisdom. And so then the line 6, what can you tell us about that, Haley, in a nutshell?
So the line 6 is called the role model.
In very
traditional. So like the big thing that people always talk about with the line 6 is this triphasic life cycle. So what that means is the first third of your life till about 30s, early 30s.
Yeah, you're Saturn return generally. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot. The line 6 energy expresses as a line 3 energy. So it's a lot of trying. It's a lot of experimenting. It's a lot of just like seeing what happens, basically. And then from that period of time, you move into the second cycle, the second part of the cycle, which is what you're talking about, going up on the roof, which is till about 50s, mid 50s, right?
Or around 50, yeah.
50?
Is when it starts to come off the roof, they say, yeah.
So like when you're up on the roof, when the line 6 is up on the roof, it's not just like chilling, being, just hanging out. It's a lot of this like building things. You're building, a lot of times people like are building families and like really creating things. It's just like this solid building cycle where you're not really experimenting as much as you were In the first part, you're just kind of like laying your foundations and building and just creating at that point. And it's also called up on the roof because you're kind of like still seeing how the rest of the world is doing, how other people are doing it, but you're just like, you're observing, but you're doing your own thing. And then after that is when you come off the roof. For some people, maybe they get pushed off the roof, but it's just very much this, it's when you kind of really, the line 6 really gets back into, gets like, I don't want to say gets back into society because you haven't been like completely not in society, but you just like, you step into, it's when the line 6 really steps into this role model position where you kind of just come down and you're living very authentically to who you are, what you've learned and all of your experience, but you're just kind of like there being kind of just a beacon for people of like, hey, this is what you can be.
Very good. Yes. And so the 3/6 profile, then you can imagine that first phase of life is a lot of 3 energy, right? And this is one of those profiles that is, even though it's a 3 and a 6, you would think they do have a lot in common, but it is not a very harmonic pairing of line numbers, because if you think about the line 3 is still very self-focused. It's its own process. It doesn't really like to be told what to do. It's got to figure it out. But the line 6 is more of the like involving others, right? So there's this other inherent tension between the two, and that the line 3, they say, is inherently pessimistic. If you imagine it has a like, yeah, I don't think so, that's not right, we're gonna try this. Whereas the line 6 has a long view, they say, in life, which also, you mentioned that roof analogy again, the long view. It can see far. It can see farther in life. It can see more and beyond than any of the other lines. And so it has a more optimistic outlook, because the line 3 can be like, okay, this doesn't work. Let's move on to the next thing to try and figure it out. Like, done. That's that bonds made and broken thing. But the line 6 can be like, wait. There might be something more we can do. There's always something that can be done to improve it. And so there's this, especially early in life, that line 3 is going to rule more, because there is that energy of the double 3 there. But there's also this underlying like dissatisfaction or even disillusionment of the line 6, of like feeling, because it's the unconscious line, there's this, maybe not even, they don't even understand what it is, this unsettled feeling, because they feel that, like you've expressed, that you can still feel that role model energy within you, like you know that there's more, and there's something that you should be aspiring to or doing or having it figured out or whatever, which
Something
is
bigger than yourself.
Yeah, which is what the line 6 feels. And if it's in that unconscious realm where early in life you're just like bumping into everything and possibly going through lots of relationships or jobs or experiences just to try things out, especially with this double energy, it can create this, it's a little rocky road for a 3/6, because they can feel that tension between the two lines. You may be expected or feel you're expected to be more of a role model before you've had time to really integrate all the things. That's in general line 6. That's part of that Ruth phase, is integrating all the things you've learned and deciding what you want to keep, what you want to let go, what you learned. And so with the line 6 in that early phase of life with a 3/6 profile, I should say, there is going to be, and this is why it's good to hopefully learn this stuff earlier in life for a line 6, is to know that this is part of the process. You are, or maybe you are a 3/6 and you've already lived through that, and you might be carrying this condition that the things you did early in life, the earlier phases of your life, were either like a waste of time, or you feel like you should have figured it out sooner, or you have a lot of regret for some of the things that occurred in life, to understand that no, that was part of your process. And if you are in that phase of your life past that in your line 6, to look back and say, well, what did all these experiences show me? Because especially as a 3/6, it's really, really important this first phase of your life, even though it's probably going to feel like a very messy phase of your life, more than a lot of other lines or a lot of other profiles, because there's so much experiential energy there. So another thing that the line 6 can, especially when it's in that unconscious position, can give off the energy of someone who feels very aloof or detached or inaccessible, because, and they might not even understand it even in this early phase, because the line 6 is designed to kind of be that way. Like, I think you'll understand this, and that you are observers. You are watching others. You're seeing how life plays out throughout your lifetime. And so it does take kind of an aloofness, a detachment, to not be always like in the fray of everything, but to kind of have this other perspective that line 6s naturally carry of, like I said, it's like, yes, but, yes, this is here, but, the potential is this, or let's see how this plays out kind of thing. So I'll be honest, 3-6, early in life, it could feel quite unsettling and quite messy. And it's going to be super important to understand yourself, to know. I think I already said this, it's part of the process.
Yeah.
And
I can see, like, I think with any profile that has a line 3, like I feel like the 3-6 is gonna be the most experiential, because I can see how that unconscious line 6 plays into this, like, almost fueling the line 3, the experimenting, because the line 6 feels like there's something bigger that they need to be doing and working towards, but it's like, it's so aloof and you don't know what that is. So you're like, I can see you're trying even more things, because you're like, what is this?
right. Yeah, exactly. And I had a thought and it left my head. I hope it comes back.
Sorry.
So no, it's good. No, I appreciate your input, because it was, even while you were talking about it, I wanted to drive the point home about the 3-6 in its relationships in particular, because we talk about, I said it earlier, the bonds made and broken theme with the line 3, because it's meant to, it likes new experiences. It likes maybe getting into relationships with new people, trying things out. But the line 6 is always, just like it has the long view, it always feels this call or this desire for a soulmate. And so it also looks for perfection in things, in people, in situations, because if you think about the end game of the role model, it's not perfection, but it's about this refining process that makes something just like the essence of what it is. Perfection is a word we use. I'm sure there could be a better word for what they're looking for, what they're attaining to, but especially earlier in life, it could play out as looking for perfection. So if it feel, and also it, line 6s really want to find things and people that they can trust, right? So these are very big themes for them. They want soulmates, they want trust, because they have this leadership energy. They want to be with people or be in relationships or in situations where they don't always have to take that like role model lead and like be the adult in the room, basically. And they kind of want to break. But so with the 3-6 playing out here, they can tend to, if they have experiences earlier in their life in relationships that are deeply, a trust is broken, or something happens that is really hard for them to get past in their relationships, they can be just totally avoidant of any kind of relationship for a very long time, because it takes so much to gain that trust back, and they've been disappointed and they're not willing to try it again. But the 3's always wanting to try. And so what's interesting here with the 3-6 combination over a lifetime is that, yes, they're going to take on this role model status, but they're never going to stop experimenting. Like we talked about the 6-2, when the line 6 moves up on the roof and they integrate and they move on, you have your own natural way of doing things. You would kind of have, I think, a more steady, grounded kind of path through life as you
Mm-hmm.
are moving along. Whereas the 3/6, there's still going to be that 3 is the more conscious part of the
Mm-hmm.
personality. It's always going to want to be exploring and trying and doing. But the 6 is going to anchor it a little bit more as it moves through life. It's going to realize it may not have to try all the
Mm-hmm.
things. It's going to have a
Mm-hmm.
little more discernment. It's going to rely a little bit more and let other people see how they do it. But they're still always going to have this desire to like kind of try things out. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if we look at the different types of 3/6 profiles, we like to
Mm-hmm.
look at the different energy types and how they play out, and hopefully add a little bit of advice here. So for a 3/6 generator, I'm going to kind of link uh, generators, manifesting generators together a little bit here because it's essentially the same kind of thing.
Lump. We're
Lump,
gonna lump them.
because it's the sacral is what leads you,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You have a sacral response. You're responding to life. You're here to follow that strategy of responding to life and then following what lights you up. So you can imagine with the 3 profile, double 3,
Mm-hmm.
especially early on, that's going to be a lot. I mean, manifesting generator too, you're going to be like,
Yeah.
really, things are going
Mm-hmm.
to be drawing your attention. What can trip you up a little bit here, maybe with the 3/6, is that as a generator type, it's going to lead you to where you need to go, but it doesn't mean that it always has maybe the result you want. It's going to lead you to the things you need to learn. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to try different paths before you find something that is a little bit more sustainable as you move onto the roof. You have to respond, but things don't always work out. And it's just important to remember that because the response is not a set in stone thing. It's not respond to one thing and it sets your life. It's respond to
Mm-hmm.
one thing and then the next thing. And
Yep.
because the stair step learning curve of the generator, it's a life of building, of refining, of really getting the understanding of what it means to be here and to build and to do things that you love and to follow that path. But so that means that sometimes your response is going to lead you to something that helps you learn, but it doesn't necessarily set your whole path. So,
Mm-hmm.
just being comfortable with knowing with that unconscious line 6 and feeling like you have to have everything right and have everything figured out to understand that when it doesn't work out, it's okay
Mm-hmm.
because it will get you there eventually. It's creating your
Yeah.
foundation.
Yeah. Those sacral responses, they're giving you the puzzle pieces that you'll eventually will give you the whole puzzle.
Right. And so, same for the manifesting generator. It's just could be a lot faster. So, you could burn out a lot faster too.
Yes.
So, just know that sometimes you don't have to go back and figure out all the things. You can just like reflect, okay, that didn't work. Let's move on. Give yourself a little more grace with this profile and being a manifesting generator because you are definitely meant to get a little messy.
Little messy. Messy Bessie.
So the same thing with the projector with the 3/6. So we know projectors, you guys also have this calling, this sense of, because you are here to guide. You're here to help guide and manage others and their energy. So you have this already sense that you're here for more. You have a lot to offer, but it's going to take time to kind of figure out what that is. And it's something that you have to figure out for yourself as a projector. With a 3/6, you're here to try the things. You're going to have just as much experiential energy. It doesn't change because you're a projector. Doesn't mean you have to sit around and wait for things to try out. You're perfectly capable of following your own interest in what shows up in front of you and what you're interested in. Sure, experiment and play with that. But also to know that not every experience or invitation that you receive may be perfect. But despite that, despite the results of that, it's again laying the foundation for that future role model status. And so it may feel uncomfortable for the projector to jump into some of these things because they feel like they may have to figure things out, or they feel like they should know because they have a lot of wisdom, but they've got to have that experiential data and experience to know what it is they want to be recognized for, what it is their special guidance, their special energy is best used for. So with, I think, this combination of profile lines, it could be tricky to kind of navigate that tension between that trying different things, going different paths, and also knowing that you're here for a bigger purpose and for more. But it's going to help you refine those invitations for what you really, really can be called into later in life when you come off the roof. So the reflector, again, you can imagine it's almost like it gets even more and more important to understand how your energy works and to I forgot the manifestor. Sorry. I forgot the manifestor. So let me back up. Manifestor. What is the strategy of the manifestor, Haley?
To inform.
Oh, good. Yes. So they like to initiate. That's what they're here to do, right? They're here to follow their own creative internal flow kind of thing. It's nonverbal, and they don't always know when it's going to show up. So you can imagine with that 3-6, there's going to be a lot of wanting to follow those urges when they're there. And that means that if you're not using your strategy of informing, there could be a lot of anger that ends up being the result of wanting to follow your drive to try new things and experiment, but bumping up against life in an even harder way than it needs to be because you haven't been kind of letting people in on what it is you're doing. So it's going to be important really in order to explore life to its fullest as you're designed to do, to make sure that you are not asking for permission, but you are just kind of letting people know, like, hey, leave me alone for a little bit. I got something I'm doing over here.
I got some stewing.
I'm interested in this right now, so just kind of like back off.
No, they're nice.
I'll let you know when I need you back in here. Again, you're going to have a lot of things that don't necessarily work out like you think you're going to, but as long like they're going to, but you're going to have a lot less resistance for yourself if you let other people in on what's happening, so that you're building your yes.
You're not going to finish everything you start.
No, definitely not. You don't have the energy for that. You're not meant to. And so, okay, for the reflector, so they have, what makes the reflector unique to all the other types is
they have no defined centers.
Correct. They have no defined centers, so the chart looks, all those centers are white, and they're deeply affected by their environments. There's a lot that is projected onto them with all that openness. And so their trial and error phases of life, or of that 3-6, are definitely going to be including the people and the places that they sample or that they're around. And knowing how your non-strategy or strategy, well, your strategy is the 28 days. They call it non-authority or having no authority. But all that means is that the reflector is unique because it is affected by the cycles of the moon. Because with all that openness, they have defined gates, but they don't have any centers or channels, like we said. So as the moon moves in its 28-day cycle, moves all the way through the Human Design Mandala, so it means it moves through all of the gates. So if you could ever, I wish I could find it. I saw a time lapse little animation somebody did once of the how the moon moves through a reflector's chart throughout the 28-day cycle, and you just, it's so vibrant and like dynamic the way the different centers and channels line up as the moon highlights a different gate. It's really, and it's fast. So these people are affected by that. So they get the flavor of a certain definition of a channel or of a center, and it kind of informs how they move through their environments, how they express themselves, how they feel. And so it's one very important for the reflector to start really charting their lunar cycle to so they know throughout the month like what their chart's going to be like, but then also to make sure they have the time to be by themselves, to remove themselves from the environments and the people that they're around so they can get back in touch with who they really are and what it is they're interested in experimenting with, what it is they want to try, who they really are drawn to, and who they are at their core, because they can quite often, since they're designed to be the energetic mirror in the room, they can definitely lose themselves in people and environments if they're not taking that time to step back and just kind of be by themselves for a little while and get back in touch with their own energy. So that brings us to the part where we talk about a few people in the public realm that are 3/6 profiles, unless you have something else to say right now. Okay. Let me share the first one with you. So you see it?
Oh, God. Come on.
Do you know who that is? Oh.
Wait. Okay, there we go. Barbara Corcoran.
Do you know who that is?
Does it sound like I know who that is?
Do you know Shark Tank?
Oh! Okay. Yes.
The Shark Tank lady, Barbara Corcoran.
Corcoran. Okay. Okay.
So
Wow.
she is a 3/6 emotional manifestor. You see that?
Yes.
And I picked her. She's happened to pop up because I talked about her early life is a pretty good, actually her full on, a lot of her, I don't know a ton about her, but just when I'm pulling up on Wikipedia, but just if you're listening and you're not seeing the chart, you're not watching the video, she has an undefined head, G center, and sacral center, because she is a manifestor, so she has undefined sacral. She is defined as far as an emotional manifestor by the 1222, which links the solar plexus to her throat. She has the channels 1222, openness, 2343, structuring, 2838, struggle, and the 3740, community. It's the struggle is unconscious. That is an unconscious channel for her. And the 4323 is an unconscious channel for her. So she is an American, second of 10 children.
Whoa.
But she had kind of maybe a rather, no shade on the Irish Catholics, but big family. Father drank a little too much. Mother worked a little too hard. But she struggled throughout her early life in school in particular, labeled as a dumb kid by her classmates and her teachers, but she later learned she had dyslexia. She had a little struggle there. But the experience that she had there, which was not a positive experience, is bullying, she says is what drove her to work harder and to learn the skills that she did need to succeed. Because certainly she was born in 1949. They weren't exactly going to be teeing her up in the Catholic education to become a businesswoman, that's for sure. But so then also she did go to college, but it says in her Wikipedia that she taught school, but then she also had a total of 20 different jobs by the time she was 23.
Hello, line
Hello,
3.
double line 3.
Yeah.
So, but it was while she was a waitress, she had a boyfriend that convinced her to start working for a real estate company. And she always knew she wanted to be her own boss. But while she was working as a receptionist at a real estate company, she co-founded her first business with her boyfriend at the time with $1,000 investment and started her own thing. So let's see, 1973, let's see, 59, 69. So yeah, so she was getting close to that on the roof phase of her life, but she was still in the early phase of her life when she was very busy in her top 30 years. But then through that next several decades of her life, she really built a hugely profitable business that she in 2001 sold for $66 million.
Wow, that's really, do you have what that business was? I'm just curious.
It was she had her own firm, the Corcoran Group, real estate firm.
Okay.
But then what's interesting is a couple years after that, I don't remember exactly let's see, it doesn't really have it, but it was shortly after that in the early 2000s that the first Shark Tank came out, and she was on Shark Tank the whole time. So that would be in her off the roof phase. When people did on Shark Tank, she was a role model for a lot of these people, right? She was the model of very much doing things her own way. She tried lots of different things, and she was a woman, a well-established millionaire by the time she's 50. And so she had the experience. She tried things. She's done lots of different things, but she definitely moved into her role model lane. And yeah, so that's oh, here's a fun little thing. I don't know the story about this, but it just says in 2019 for her 70th birthday, she held a mock funeral.
Oh.
Something we should all do, right? Just warming up, see if we like how it goes. But, in looking at her design, she's definitely someone who is going to be or will be valued with her voice coming from her knowingness in that 4323. She's going to see things a little bit differently than everybody else, which she did. I mean, that's what made her successful also on Shark Tank and other things of being able to spot what was going to be successful or not. She also has that 32, which helps her spot that as well. But with the 1222, that is the voice of feelings and emotion. And so she would be someone who would be, that I would advise to make sure that they are not rushing how they are feeling before they start creating or speaking. There is a lot of, she did help write, I think she probably with not a ghostwriter, but a co-writer help. She has written a book or two, I think. But when she does speak, and when she's ready to speak, her words really land. So waiting for the right time to express what it is that she knows and what she feels is going to be important to her. And to understand that with her 3-6 energy and her 28-38 unconscious, her life journey is going to be about trying things out. And it's going to be sometimes be a difficult road, but she's ultimately searching, especially with that 28-38, for things that hold value, for things that have meaning and are worth fighting for. And she's going to try it in lots of different ways. So we see her public life and her career, but there's probably behind the scenes, she's probably even more experiential and learning through that trial and error process. Do you have anything else to say about that?
Nope.
You looked pensive, so I was just sure. Okay. So
Well, I had a thought, but I don't know how accurate it is. But
okay,
I feel
sure.
like from what I've kind of seen on her Shark Tank, while I think a lot of times the companies she invests in is very much about it doesn't always necessarily seem like it's necessarily a product, but it's like something that's gonna better something.
She sees potential very well, I think.
Yeah.
I think that comes through with that gate 32 as well, which is her unconscious. I mean, it's her conscious south node, but 32 duration. It's really good at kind of seeing the value and the potential in things and people as well. And so that's definitely something, an energy she's comfortable in, is being able to see that. So I've sent you another chart.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
See how we got. I think we've looked at her before, but
I
she's a
do
pretty
know
good
this
example.
one. Mariah Carey.
Yes, Mariah Carey. She
Yes.
is a 3/6 splenic projector.
Oh,
So, yeah, she has an undefined head, undefined sacral, because she's a projector, and undefined solar plexus. Her connections are, it's kind of similar to you in a way that she has the 1858 defining the root to the spleen, which is what makes her splenic authority. And then she has the 2551, the channel of initiation that connects the will to the G center. And then she also has the 1762 connecting her ajna to her throat. Now, Mariah Carey, of course, is known as a singer, songwriter extraordinaire. They call her the Queen of Christmas because of that song I can't stand to hear at Christmas time. Like, I literally want to just plug my ears for the whole season if I have to hear that song one more time, which now it's going to be stuck in my head all day because thank you to my brain and the way it functions.
Yep.
But she's also been, it's funny because she's been linked to a lot of romantic different involvements, where she's only been married twice, but she's worked with lots of different collaborators. She's had lots of different experiences in her life. She's gone through different involvement in
Evolutions.
yeah, I guess that's the word I'm trying to go for. But you can see, how old is she now? She's 56. So she's coming off the roof. That all of her things that her spleen maybe has led her to has built this body of work over time. And she had to explore lots of things in order to get there. She's one of those that I think started off in more of a like Pop-Tart kind of range that really, through duration and really digging into life and really refining her craft, the 1858 as well, is like, has built this
depth.
Yes, depth. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you very much.
You're
Depth.
welcome.
And she is, if you notice, I don't know if you noticed, she's also a triple split definition. You
I
see
did
it?
see that.
You did see that? Where her, and a lot of times when people are triple split like that, especially when the mind is cut off from the rest of the chart, it tends to have more mind, what am I saying? More, what's the word? Identifying more,
rule?
identifying with the mind. Yeah, the mind rules because it's such a strong, and we've been taught to follow the mind more than
head.
anything else, right? But her body is very instinctual. It's very much following those the little intuitive voices to let her know what's good for her, what's not good for her. But being possibly with that open or that undefined emotional solar plexus might be more swayed by the people in her environment as far as how they're feeling and like how she makes decisions, and especially earlier in life for sure. And that would be being married earlier in life, finding those kind of relationships was part of the process for her too, is to understand what's right for her and what's not right for her. I don't think she's currently really, I don't know, is she married now? I don't think she's married now. Let me look. Let's see. Is she married? No, she's been divorced since 1916. So it doesn't mean she's not in relationship.
1916?
She's so old. Since 2016.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, when she married her first husband, Tommy Mottola, he's a record exec. She would have been, let's see, 1993. She's about the same age as me. She was still in her she was in her 20s. Yeah. 69, 79, 89, 99. Yeah, so she was, I got to do math like that. Oh, my fingers. So she was in her early 20s when she married him. And I know that he was much older than her because he was a record mogul already. He ran her label. And then she married Nick Cannon in 2008 when she was a little bit older. And I believe that's who she has children with, is Nick Cannon. See the guy that has lots of kids?
I think so.
We should look at his chart.
Yeah, we should. I bet he has the freaking
59.6?
59.6. Yeah.
Maybe. A lot of procreating in his
Pretty sure
chart.
that's him. That has, like, I swear, 30 children.
But if you look at her chart, so her sun is in gate 17, and that's that's the channel, that one of the channels that she has. So the she's going to have a lot of identifying with her mind energy, I would think, because that's her sun gate. Plus, it's also cut off from the rest of her chart. With that 2551 gate of or channel of initiation, so there was probably a lot of, and if I knew more about her, and if you're a fan of Mariah Carey, you may know this, but she probably had a lot of kind of upheaval moments in her life, or created some of these upheaval moments in her life, especially with that 3-6 as well. But she's made to weather the storm kind of thing. Like, things can happen to her, but she can also understand the bigger picture of why that is, especially with her line 6 as well. It might help her. But it also means that her energy affects other people in that way too. She can cause a lot of those. And so when I love looking at channels so often in charts, how they just, it's such a great signature of people, because the 1858, the refining, the 2551, the initiating, the 1762, like being able to logically look at things, make sense of things, offer opinions and see patterns, and really kind of change the way people are looking at things for the long game. That 1762 is also about for the future looking. And then the 1858 is also looking towards the long game, because it's that judgment, that refining, that always looking for more, better, creating from joy. And then the 2551 also, that bringing those together of like, it's all meant for something. It's here for something. And so something bigger. But anyway, so that's just one quick look at her chart. And then we have one more left.
Uno más.
Uno más.
Oh, Miss Tina Fey.
Miss Tina Fey. She is
an emotional generator. Where is Upper Darby?
Pennsylvania.
Okay.
She's born in Pennsylvania.
Like
and as we record, it's her birthday.
Oh my God. Do you plan that now?
Well, a lot of times when I am looking for charts, I go to Genetic Matrix, and
do they highlight people
when you hit their research tool? Yeah, when you hit the research tool, it brings up people that have birthdays that day. And she just happened to be at the top of the list, and she was a 3-6. So I was like, well,
happy birthday.
Which, because of how the sun moves through the mandalas, there was a lot of line 3s or 3-6s that I could choose from, but I don't know who the hell they were.
You're like, oh, I know this one.
Like I said, that guy that runs it has a massive database of charts, but I would say 90% of the people in there I've never heard of before. Never.
And you've heard of a lot of people.
I have. And I'm like, but they're all a lot of Europeans that I just don't know. And so Tina, she has a very grounded chart. So she is, so she has an undefined head, completely open ajna, undefined throat, and everything else is defined. Her channels are the 2750 preservation, that's the spleen to sacral. She has the 3041 recognition from root to solar plexus. She has the 3740 solar plexus to will, and she has the 14 to the beat.
Did you say 3740 was called community?
Did I? I hope so.
I don't know if you did. But I'm throwing it in there if you didn't.
I think I did, but
I don't know.
And so Tina Fey, of course, we all know her as a comedian, but she's also an actress. She's also a writer, producer, director. She also, throughout her 54 years, has built quite a body of work. I don't know much about her early year. There's not a real whole lot of information that is relevant to like what we're talking that would help me out as far as things she went through in life. Although she did meet her husband pretty young, probably about the same time I met your dad, and they've been together. They're still together. So she met her soulmate. She found her soulmate. But I guess more of her experimenting, collaborating came through different collaboration, like professionally, partners, writers, because she started on SNL probably right around the time she was going up on the roof, I believe. Let me see. which I thought was interesting because that's where she really started building her work and her legacy that she has built so far is when she took that. Let's see. Let's see. Do-do-do-do. Yes. So in her early life, yes, she worked as a receptionist, worked on her craft, did all that kind of stuff. Yeah, she met her husband early. So, yeah, she started Saturday Night Live in 1997. So, we're the same age. So, yeah, she was like 26 when she started there. And she really evolved as a performer in those years. And then also, after she left SNL in 2006, she then started her next project, which even further solidified her career, which was 30 Rock, developing 30 Rock and also acting in it and everything else. So everybody knows her as being pretty awesome. She's funny. She's an actress. She's very talented, which is interesting because her sun is in gate 8, Earth is in gate 14. And then also on the other side, 30 and 29. So very much her path is about being her own creative self. And when she is doing work that she really loves, she's really being her most authentic self. And that could be in lots of different things. Like we said, it could be as an actress, it could be as a writer, it could be as a producer, or even just a behind the scenes kind of person. But whatever she pursues, as long as she's like really lit up with it, lit up by it being a generator, it's going to really help her incarnation cross just really express, which I think most people feel is from her. I mean, she is the right angle cross of contagion, those 4 gates, contagion 2. This is very much about someone following their own path, their own interests, their own passion, and infusing it with that passion. And like it suggests, contagion, it just comes out into the world. It's like, it's a pretty powerful energy.
Yeah.
So,
Very instinctual.
yes, she has a lot of spleen gates lined up.
Yeah.
Or lit up, I should say.
I mean, they are also lined up. So, like,
But you can see the whole, like, with that 57, or excuse me, with that 50-27, very tribal, so defense circuit, that's that nurturing values and caring for the tribe, the community, caring for her people. And the 37-40, also about community and collaboration. You can see why for so many years she probably stayed in projects the way she did, even though she has this 3-6 profile trying different things. But, you know, I think she is kind of known as someone who really does like to collaborate, and to her people around her are important to her, like building those stronger relationships.
yeah, I mean, how many times have her and Amy Poehler like done things together? Like, they're a very strong friendship and like collaboration, and they produce some awesome stuff.
Yeah, and they're also very like pioneering, and in a very Line 6 way, they're very pioneering in the whole. They were the first 2 women. Well, first of all, Tina Fey, I think, was one of the first women to do the Weekend Update on SNL.
Oh,
And then when she was doing it with Jimmy Fallon, and she brought a whole different like vibe to the whole thing. People were like, her delivery was just incredible. And then when Jimmy Fallon moved on, she asked Amy Poehler to be her co-host on Weekend Update. And that was the first and only time it's been 2 women who hosted that. And yes, they are great, great collaborators. But they're also, I think, what I love about them being women themselves is that they also, I think, nurture other women artists and projects and causes and the things that are important to them as well. And we did Amy Poehler, and I can't remember what hers. I think she's a 1-3. I think we did. I think she was one of the first ones we did. I can't remember now.
I think so. I know when we did it though recently.
Yeah, we did do it recently. Yeah. So looking at her chart, it would be really important for her to follow that sacral response, the 14-2. It's like going to lead her to. It's funny. It's going to lead her to what's fueling her. I mean, she has. That channel is all about following that sacral response to lead you to, and the people around you, to have the resources and the things that you need to keep doing the things that you love. And that is very important. And it's probably going to involve people that she cares about. because of the other placements in her chart. But she's
Mm-hmm.
very open to new ideas, new inspirations. She has that gate 56. It's unconsciously defined in her throat, which is also like the gate of the storyteller. So she does have
Mm-hmm.
this natural innate way of just getting it's her unconscious moon, of expressing and getting things out there for whatever inspiration she receives. That open head and ajna. There's a lot going on there, but she's definitely
Mm-hmm.
seen as an incredibly creative person, and
Yeah.
she definitely is.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Yeah.
So that's going to bring us to the end of talking about the 3-6 for today. So just to recap with the 3-6, to understand that no experiences in your life, no matter what your type, they're not wasted. And this is true for anybody, but to really drive this point home for the 3-6, because they may be feeling that there's been a little bit too much experimenting and feeling that they should have had it figured out, but nothing is wasted. Nothing was wasted. You are always becoming. And remember, the role model, ultimately, they're here to just be who they are. It's not about what you do, it's about who you become and who you
Mm-hmm.
like really are. You're on a life path of trying things out and integrating, seeing what works for you, what doesn't, and then really leaning into what does for you, not for anyone else. You don't necessarily have to go through life explaining your choices and what you're doing. You just have to be comfortable with that exploratory part of yourself and know that even as you mature and it kind of the edges come off of that need to always like kind of take things apart and try it, you're still going to have that curiosity through life to try things, and that's to benefit all of us, because you're more grounded and more rooted in yourself as you mature, and that's just going to keep adding on to your wisdom that you have to
Repertoire.
share. Yeah. And so this isn't a path lifetime of being like polished and having it all figured out. It's a path of like claiming your place in the world, creating a presence about you that is your presence, that
Mm-hmm.
may not be perfect, but it is always evolving into something that is real and trustworthy and wise. So
Mm-hmm.
get messy, man. Yeah, okay, it's all right.
Indeed.
So I don't think we've ever talked about that one as much before, but
Mm-hmm.
so any other thoughts about the 3-6, Haley?
Yeah.
Yep. We are complete. So that means it's time for.
The incarnation cross of the week.
That's right. It's the end of the episode where we like to focus on one incarnation cross every week. This is because everybody has an incarnation cross. You just heard us talk about a
Mm-hmm.
couple of them there. It's the totality of the sun and earth gates on both sides of your chart, what the themes in those gates, what they carry, and how they express through you. And we like to say that as long as you are following your strategy authority, doesn't matter what your type is, if you just keep following what is the correct way for your energy to interact in the world, you're going to really embody the energies of these four gates. It's part of your path, and it's part of your gift that you're here to share with the rest of the world, because it plays a big part in your
Yes.
personality.
Yes.
So today we're going to focus on the right angle cross of rulership.
Ooh.
So this right angle cross, first of all, we know that it is what kind of profile?
So a right angle cross means that the profile starts with a 1, a 2, a 3, or you're a 4-6.
That's right.
Because
And what's interesting, I just realized I pulled this one up, and then I was looking at Barbara Corcoran's again, and I realized this is her incarnation cross.
oh,
Okay. It was just what I had. So, okay. So this cross consists on the conscious side of your chart, personality side, the black numbers on the right. The sun will be in gate 22, openness. The earth would be in gate 47, realization. And then on the unconscious side, left side, the design side, red side of your chart, the sun is in gate 26. And that's the trickster or the egoist, depending on how you like to refer to it. And the Earth is in gate 45, the Gatherer.
So we have openness. I did it.
Okay. Okay, let me see. So, if you were born like Barbara under this cross, you are here to lead by example through steady presence, deep listening, and practical wisdom. You sense what a community needs to thrive and naturally step into the role of organizing, guiding, and educating. Your gift is in creating clear structures that support others and their growth, structures rooted in respect, alignment, and shared values. You see the bigger picture and know how to translate it into meaningful systems that empower people to step into their own strength. Your purpose is to show others how to align their energy with their values and take responsibility for what they create. You understand that creativity flows from a strong sense of worth, and you offer the mindset tools and insight that help people reconnect to that inner foundation. Your work helps others access the energy needed for lasting change by teaching them to build from within. You offer not just guidance, but a grounded path to personal power and inspired action. There you go.
Feel good.
And I believe it's funny because I was thinking of Barbara Corcoran as I was reading that. If I could say her name right, Corcoran. I think that's the book she wrote was like advice her mother gave her, quirky little things she said. But it was just when it was talking about having the mindset tools and the insight people need to like connect with their foundation, their strength, because it kind of is. I think. Okay, wait a minute, I got to read you the name of this book because you'll love this. It kind of fits with what we just said. Let's see. References. It's under there. Okay, this is the name of the book that she wrote in 2003. You ready? If you don't have big breasts, put ribbons on your pigtails. And other lessons I learned from my mom, aka use what you got.
Oh, what a title.
Yeah.
What a title.
I guess we'll end on that note.
Okay.
See, it doesn't always have to look perfectly polished. You always got something to share. No matter, you do it in your own way. Get your own voice.
Exactly.
So again, just a reminder, make sure you check out the show notes and get on that email list so that you guys can come hang out with us on our community call tomorrow on May 28th and at 7 o'clock. Because we're really excited to see you. We've had fun so far, and we just want to keep growing this and until maybe we have to do more than one a month. But we'll get there when we get there. But we really appreciate you listening and tuning in. And also make sure you check out in the show notes. I have kind of revamped the Human Design Guidebook that I have to offer. It's kind of going through a rebrand itself as an energetic clarity guidebook to really help you hone in on how to recognize your own energy, how to use your own energy, what your human design chart shows you, how you're designed to really move through life with clarity. So it's a totally personalized report to you. So make sure you check that out in the show notes, and I'd love to put one together for you. So with that, I guess we're just going to wrap it up, Haley, finally. With a Phelps goodbye that takes many stages, but it happens eventually. Just never want to let you go. Just love y'all so much.
Yeah,
Love being here. So, yeah, but we will let you go. So, with that, Haley, bye for now.
Bye.
You made it all the way to the end of today's episode, so you must have liked what you heard. If you did, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode, and perhaps leave us a good review. And if you know someone who wants to dig into all things human design with us, make sure you share the Human Design Hive podcast with them. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for listening.